what do you find yourself synonymous with? And that's, I think, the first question that you have to ask yourself is when somebody thinks of you, what do they think of? When somebody's buying you a gift, what do they say? I needed to buy this for you because it's so Jessica, it's so Alexis. What is that? And there's usually a color associated with that. What do you find yourself most synonymous with and go from there? It's the best reflection of you too. And I would say, even that goes for buying clothes. It goes for how you want yourself to be perceived. Making those choices make a difference.
Greetings from Confetti Land,
home of the Confetti Bar. I'm Jessica, founder and confetti artist.
And I'm Alexis, head of happiness. Join us here in this magical, colorful place where we
have fun,
feel feelings,
and encourage you to embrace your unique version of happiness and all of its beautiful, messy pieces.
We are so excited to have you join us. Good morning, everyone. Today, we're thrilled to welcome a vibrant visionary to Confetti Land. Kristen Poissant is a creative director with over 15 years of expertise in the stationery and gift industry. Now, Kristen dedicates her talents to empowering small businesses, bringing their unique stories to life through color-driven design and branding. A kindred spirit when it comes to believing in the power of color, we're so excited to chat about an entire rainbow of emotions here with Kristen today. But first and foremost, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Confetti Land.
Yay! Welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here. Long time coming.
Yes, for sure. If there's anyone who understands the power of the color in Confetti Land, it is you. So I'm so happy that you're able to join us.
Happy to be here.
Okay, before we get into the real goodies of all the color, first, can you just tell us a little bit about kind of your professional journey, sort of where you started, where you are now, and maybe since we are talking about color, just sort of weave that thread in a little bit and take us through.
Absolutely. I am lucky enough to be the type of person who knew what I wanted to do from an early age. I had a clear path. I knew what I wanted to do, and it was definitely creativity, being in a creative field. Started at one point wanting to be an illustrator for children's books, and then as I got older, kind of, more into a traditional career path of graphic design. So I did go to school for graphic design and typography, which then led me to working in physical product design. My first jobs in New York City after graduating were in the stationery industry. I designed mass market retail back to school stationery for a number of different licenses. One of my kind of early claims to fame was I hit the ground running with High School Musical, was popular and had just come out. And I was one of the first designers to design the back to school stationery line for High School Musical. There was no style guide at the time, and I worked along with my team, my designers, and Disney to develop what that looked like. So that was kind of a fun early on project, and I would say a dream project when it came to, I was always the kid who collected the stickers, always dreamed. I loved my notebooks. I dreamed of the fun pens and pencils, and I coveted them. So to kind of be in that world early on was really exciting, and working with licenses through Disney. It was a lot of Disney princesses. It was a lot of Tinkerbell. Care Bears was one of my early licenses, and a lot of Hello Kitty. So there was a lot of Sanrio, Hello Kitty, back to school stationery that we designed as well. So that was my first foray into design, which again, there was a lot of color, a lot of artistic communication through those designs and those really iconic figures. So that was really a fun way to kind of learn. And that helped me transition to, I did that for a number of years. Then I transitioned to working strictly for one brand, and I worked for Vera Bradley. I managed their design and product development of their stationery line. At a very pivotal time in their business. It's when they were choosing to go public, and launched their IPO for the first time. So I helped launch the New York office of their brand because they're based in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And that was really fun, exciting. I learned a lot during that time. And Vera Bradley is full of color. It is paisleys, it's florals, but everything comes down to really specific color. And color was the main essence of what the brand was, because we had to make sure that the colors that were on the fabric handbags matched the colors that were on different substrates, whether it was paper, porcelain, plastic, anything, any type of product. I had to make sure a handbag matched a piggy bank, So I was really pivotal in making that happen. I traveled overseas many times to our factories to make sure that all of that was correct. And then from there, I worked with Shutterfly for a number of years under one of their photo brands. So that was really fun as well. I got a lot of experience in marketing and styling at that point. And that kind of led me to kind of discover, and it kind of led me on a path to discover, if I was to design for myself, what would my brand look like? I was designing for all these other people for 15, 16 years. And when it came to what could I bring to the table if I was to design for Kristen? What would that look like? And a lot of it really evolved around color. And that was really my passion. And there was a specific podcast that I listened to at one point from Tiffany Pratt, who was one of your previous guests. And I would say between that and some of the workshops that Jess ran that I met her at was really a very pivotal point in my career to help me decide, what do I find joy in? Number one, how do I like to express myself? And how do I, how can I live my brand, my personal brand authentically? So that's when Kristen Poissant Studio was born. And now I am 8 years in 8 years in. And I have helped a number of different small, predominantly female-run businesses build their presence online, whether that's through social media, their website, most importantly, their physical branding. And I've worked with a range of clients that work on either physical product-based businesses, service-based businesses, content creators, a whole gamut. So it's been an exciting time.
Yes. Wow. And I'm very proud that the Confetti Bar has been a client a few times, and you've definitely helped with our branding over the years.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I saw Alexis fangirling when she heard High School Musical. Her jaw hit the
seriously.
floor.
That was my life.
It was pretty amazing at the time. I mean, I was in my early 20s at that point, and I was just like, what is this? I have not heard of it. This is amazing. Like, they sent us all of the kind of different products that they had come out with. We got the soundtracks. They gave us access to movies. We were like, any inspiration you can give us, give it to us, and then come up with what these designs need to look like. And we had all these, which was funny now, like we had all these raw photos of the actors too, like filming the scenes. And I was like, who is this? Zac Efron? Like, and now it's wild to see, him and Vanessa Hudgens and where they've come and the careers they have built. It was really wild to kind of be there at the beginning of it. And Disney didn't, they put out these shows and they want them to be a success, and they're hoping they will be, but they don't even know. They don't know if something's going to kind of latch on to that era at all. And High School Musical was something that did. They weren't prepared for it, and that's why they didn't have usually they'll come to us with a style guide, like these are the graphics used, these are the promotional photos, this is the color palette. They didn't have any of that, so they were like, how about you come up with it? And it was like, okay, like dream project, but like also how does this build into the ether of the brand as well? So it was fun.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. It makes me want to have a High School Musical marathon now and relive all the fun things.
Yes, and there's even There's a kindergarten version cartoon of kindergarten. I don't know, Jess, if you've seen it on
What?
I
Disney
have
Channel. There's
not.
like a kindergarten, the musical. It's like a kindergarten
Oh
version. It's
my
so cute.
goodness.
I've turned it on a few times,
Oh my
but
gosh, that sounds
I
so
love
it's still
that.
cute.
living on. It's still living on
Uh,
today.
Okay, I have to admit, I've never seen them.
Oh
all
my
right,
gosh.
Jessica.
I know Alexis is giving me that look like, okay, I know what I'm going to make you watch next.
We need to bring you into the world.
Yes.
I need to be indoctrinated.
It really does just make me happy that that was like my era of Disney Channel. Like all the DComs, like that was a good one for sure.
Definitely was. Yeah, what was the other one? Camp Rock was another big one.
I also love Camp Rock, of course.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Sounds like you have seriously had some like dream like jobs and brand things. That is so fun to hear about.
Yeah. It was a fun time, and you're in it and you don't kind of realize it, and then you talk about it now and it's like, wow, that was like a time to be in, you know. It definitely was like a capsule of time, and there's some projects that you just think about now and you're like, wow, I can't
did
believe that
that.
happened. I remember I could go on and on, so please stop me.
No,
But there was
this
one
is what
time
we want.
we were working on a Hillary Duff project. She was coming out with something, and we were just waiting for the approvals. And they're like, well, Hillary is on, location right now. We can't seem to get her, to approve this in a timely manner. So it's like, there was one night I had to stay late at work because we were waiting for her. And I was like, how is this affecting my life now? I'm just designing
Just
a notebook in a folder, that's going to be in Walmart, but I'm waiting
on
for
Hillary
her
Duff.
to approve that. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I love that.
Okay, I do have some confetti related questions for you. The first one is, what does confetti mean to you?
Good question. Confetti is first and foremost celebration. It is celebration, it is decoration, it is happiness, it is excitement, it is an anytime occasion, that's for sure.
Yes, all of the above. Okay, what would currently make up the confetti mix of your life?
Oh my gosh.
You can add in people, places, smells,
colors,
whatever you're feeling. Yes.
Loaded question. First and foremost, it would be pink. Second,
Good.
probably there'd be a little bit of gold metallic in there. Right now, the mix of my life, oh gosh, it would be all things Gemma. So I'd put a J in there. I always like to put in a little bit of a monogram. So I'd put in a J, a K, and an M for my partner Mel. And as far as smells go, I would say I'm a fall girly. I love September, October, November. I would say give me all of the fall smells, a little bit of a spice smell in there mixed in. But yeah,
cozy,
pinks, oranges, something cozy, and then maybe in a sprinkle of a little bit of die cut iced coffee, because I love myself a nice coffee. That would be my specialty piece.
Good mix. I can see it.
I can see it, and
yes,
I can
spell it too.
Yeah.
All right. Last of these kinds of questions. What are 3 things that make you happy? Happy. I said that weird.
Oh my gosh. The happiest right now, I would say a good iced coffee on a road trip. I love to be in the car. I love to have a nice coffee with me. Right now, my daughter, just so wild to say, is a good happiness point in our lives. She's funny. She's 8 months old, so she's at like the perfect age for like sitting up. She's solid. She's funny. Her personality is coming out. And then I would say work. Work makes me really happy. I like to connect with other business owners. I like to help. One of the main points of starting my business was to be able to help out other people, learning what I learned at a large scale with bigger brands and bringing them down to smaller businesses that need that help, whether it's on visual identity, visual strategy, brand strategy, marketing. That fills my cup.
Nice.
That's so fun.
All good things. Okay. If we can transition a little bit into color psychology. So that's really kind of at the heart of what we want to talk about today. We've talked a little bit about this in, I believe it was part 2 of Designing Happiness. I know Alexis and I have talked about color a lot, but I mean, essentially color psychology is the study of how colors influence human behavior and emotions. So we'll get into the actual different color families in a moment and kind of talk about those. But before we do, I mean, I think we're all on the same page that color is a form of communication, right? And it almost has its own language. And it sometimes says things that words cannot. And as an English major, I know that there are just some things that color says more than any word ever could. So seeing as though kind of, it does have this language all of its own, Kristen, I'm curious how you approach using color to communicate and what it is about color that speaks to us before words or images do. Kind of your take on the language of
Yeah,
color.
definitely. Yeah, I approach this a lot with my clients and helping them communicate who they are as a business or a personality. I think color really is the first thing most people see, feel about a brand. So it's important to have associations. And we want to choose colors always that have intention behind them, not just because they're pretty. And I would say there's a lot of cases where brands will choose a specific color because it's beautiful, because it's of the moment, because it's um, a particular feeling. I think that's all correct. We just want to make sure that there's true intention behind it. I would say there's a lot of times I talk to clients about, choosing colors for the brand. We want to make sure that we have a balance of colors, warm and cool, that invoke certain reactions to clients, customers of theirs, that are welcoming. Colors are welcoming. Colors help people feel comfortable. They also help them, maybe it invokes a memory, maybe it's an emotion, but also we want them to be functional as well. We want those cool and those warm to play off of each other, to be vibrant, but also calming at the same time. So there's a juxtaposition there. We want that to be also mixed with a little bit of a neutral. So there's a real pattern play that comes when it comes to choosing a color palette. And first and foremost, I want to hear from clients, what colors do you envision when you see your brand? A lot of times they come to me with, oh, I want a blue, really plays true in who we are as a business, but I don't know what shade it is. So then we dig a little bit deeper, and there's a million shades of blue. It could go more green, it could go more purple. So we want to make sure that we hit the right notes when it comes to that. So yeah, there's a lot of complexity in that.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to color psychology, people often think about like the obvious emotions that, like, calmness and blue are associated with each other, and like red and passion, which we'll get more into later. But are there any unconventional color choices that you've made that end up being unexpectedly effective? So something maybe you wouldn't necessarily associate with a certain emotion, but it evoked that.
Not necessarily. I'm gonna say honestly, not necessarily.
Yeah.
No, I feel like color is very literal in so many
Mm-hmm.
cases. Um, where somebody can say to me, I want a vintage feel. I want an edgy feel. I want a light and airy coastal feel. And I
Mm-hmm.
truly think if somebody gives you adjectives when it comes to that, and I usually ask for in the brand discovery process, what are 5 adjectives that describe your brand? In 5 words, really, you can communicate what exactly it is that you're looking for, and there's always a color or a combination of colors that really tie back into what that is, which is amazing. I don't think there's
Mm-hmm.
really anything else in the world that can be as effective as that. And, if somebody says, okay, I want something retro, but I do want it to have a colorful feel to it, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I've had clients who come in and say, I want red in it and I want green in it, but I don't want it to feel like Christmas. Okay, we can do that. Like, we can make that happen. And we bring in, four other colors or three other colors that effectively do that. I also, speaking of Christmas, I have a number of clients who are retail based and will pick a color palette for their main brand. And then they'll say, but what do I do for holiday? Easy. Any color can be a holiday color. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the market has really been a great example of over the past 3 years. Specifically, there is so many different other decoration combination colors for holiday when it comes to what you can choose your decor to be. I think there's pink themes, there's gold themes, there's silver themes. It does not have to be red and green. So I tell them, I said, we can use your holiday color palette could be this blue and yellow, and we could make it work. And I give them examples of how it can work in that sense. So you can stay on brand and have it be synonymous with you, but still have a holiday feel to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's interesting because one of the things I want to get into next is actually like talking through like some different color families and sort of like our associations with them. But like one of my notes is I feel like on the one hand, color is like pretty universal and like there are kind of just common things that do go with it, but it is through the lens of, whatever kind of culture or moment that's happening, and you kind of perceive it differently based on that. Just like language evolves, I think color is the same way that the language of color also evolves to kind of suit the moment or, whatever kind of
Mm-hmm.
culturally is happening. But keeping that in mind, I thought it would be fun to just sort of go through. So this is something that has been long a part of the Confetti Bar, but we once did a post where we kind of go through all the colors. And I have here what I would consider my 12 kind of color families to try and kind of strip it down into the basics. So I thought we'll just kind of go through each one, and I can share kind of some of the common associations, but then I'd love to get everyone's take on just sort of like when we talk about these colors, like what comes to mind, and nothing is off limits, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone game?
Let's do it.
Sounds
All right.
good.
So let's start with, I think, a color very near and dear to all of our hearts, but let's talk about pinks. So just some of the words that I have that could be associated here are sweet, feminine, loving, playful, gentle, soft, and compassionate. What does pink mean to each of you? What do you think of when you think of pink? Just anything pink. Lay it on me. First reactions.
Pink is a neutral in my book.
Yes.
I have to agree.
It can go with anything. I think the first connotation that a lot of people think is obviously feminine, but I think there are a number of different ways in which it can be used. I think a lot of times people think it's childish as well. I think there's been a lot of connotation I hear around that color um, in the brand sector as well. I've heard that a number of different times. Specifically, people see that as a childish color, something that's not professional. And that's when we like to flip the script and show them, no, this is how it can be used effectively, so that it is just the opposite of that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting too to kind of pull in kind of like cultural or societal associations, but the whole like, pink versus blue, like boy versus girl, like it has to be like colors are associated with your gender, which I personally don't think it has to be just that, but I agree. Like pink to me is like, it always goes with anything. No matter what I am trying to do, pink is like always the missing piece for me every single time.
I think of Eloise. She says, "Think pink, a better way of life," and she knows what she's talking about.
Yes.
And like to your point of, I think it can be seen as childish and stuff. One of my friends and I were talking, and we're in our like late 20s, and she was like, "Me and my friends were talking the other day, and we're like, we're going to start wearing pink again. Like, why have we stopped?" And I'm like, well, I never did. But but I do think that it's just a fun color, and it does go with everything. So I'm here for pinks always.
Side tangent. Okay, I find this too. Like, let's talk about clothing for a minute. So I go into the store, mostly the red store, aka Target, per Emmy Joy. And we go, and like you look at the young girl section, and there's color everywhere, and it's like everything. And the number of times I'm like, why don't they make this in my size? Yet I go to the women's section, and it's like boring, bland, like all neutrals. And I'm like, why? Why can't adults wear color too?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not wrong.
All the love for the pink. Let's talk about pink's maybe older sister, the reds. So I've got passionate, powerful, strong, and desired. But what else about red?
I think we can go back to that holiday. I think a lot of people tie back reds to a number of different holidays, not only Christmas, not only Valentine's Day. I think there's a number of culturally significant connotations of red. Whether that's the red envelope that's handed out during Chinese New Year, whether that is, I'm trying to think of another red example.
The Macy's red. I feel like then they're known for the holidays.
Definitely. It's there's definitely a big play when it comes to that being a signature color for a number of different brands. Coca-Cola red. Another
Target, the red store.
The red store.
The red store.
The red store. I also do remember Spider-Man has a very specific red that they always follow. I used to be able to name it off the top of my head, but now I can't. But yeah, like there's specific color reds that are associated with certain brands, which is really interesting. I guarantee you that Target has probably a Pantone color that's dedicated to them.
Target red. That reminds me, another side tangent, because that's what I do. One of my favorite things to do is go to like the hardware store and where I have all the paint chip samples, but I just like to see like what they name things. Like, I mean, I've always said like that would be such a fun job, but it is like true when you see it and like, like someone really got in the mind of like, what does this color feel like? And they're just like ridiculous, but also so fitting that it's just one of my favorite things to do.
Same for nail polishes.
Yes.
I was going to say yesterday, I was looking at nail polish names and colors.
So good. I want that job. Next life.
Yes. I feel like also going back to Macy's, whenever they put a red carpet out during the holidays, I never miss an opportunity to do a little strut. And it's like, it's the red carpet. It just makes you feel some type of way. Like I just need to be a little bit more glamorous in how I'm taking my steps.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say about red is my Taylor Swift plug for this episode.
She's always got to get one in.
She has an album, Red.
Fair.
And the song Red, it's a great one. She talks about other colors and the emotions. Honestly, Jessica, that you should listen to that song. I'm going to send it to you after.
I'll listen to that and watch High School Musical. That's my homework.
Okay, good.
Take notes. Homework.
I'll get back to you on my thoughts. Okay, oranges. I feel like it's a underappreciated color family in my opinion, but I've got courageous, confident, energetic, playful, vibrant, and social. I feel like orange is a tricky one.
I would agree. It's a really tricky color combination. Different shades can kind of skew different ways. I wouldn't say it is a color people wear often. I wouldn't say it's a color that people choose often or say, oh, orange needs to be in my brand. But when you see it used in conjunction with the right color, I would say a very good example of that is our friend Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes.
Um,
With the pink.
has done a really good job of really combining it in an effective way that gets noticed, because it is a color that's not used very often when it comes to branding. It's effective in that sense. I think other feels that it has is there's a lot of seasonality in that when there's feels. Obviously, fall, pumpkins, foliage, orange, all place in that together as well.
Yeah, I'm like running through my wardrobe, and I literally think the only orange thing I have is like a jack-o'-lantern sweater for Halloween.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put it out there. But it's like there's also a reason potentially, like the orange jumpsuit.
Yep.
Let's talk about that. Like,
It's true though. It is.
we don't have to include this.
No,
But
it's true.
but when you think about it, like it's something that is seen and noticed.
Yes. I think that's why, for anyone who remembers the show Orange is the New Black, like trying to kind of change that narrative a little bit. I never really thought about it in those terms, but like actually like they focused in on the color and sort of like changing that narrative because of how orange is associated. Interesting. Okay. Orange, yeah. I feel like it's not my go-to.
It all goes back to fashion.
Yes, it does. Fashion and nail polish. Yeah, it's not my go-to orange. I'm even like looking around my office right now. It's always like within the context of like other rainbow colors. I don't like have anything that like orange just like stands on its own, really.
Yeah.
Poor orange. Okay. All of our homework. How can we more intentionally incorporate orange? Okay. Yellows. I've got joyful, energetic, bright, and warm. I know Alexis has a lot to say about yellow.
I love yellow. I love sunshine. Like a sunny day, when it's like there's too many rainy days in a row, I'm so sad. I need the sun. I need the energy of the yellow. And so, and I also feel like, gold kind of could be in the yellow family. And that's also fun to like accessorize with and things. So yeah, I really love yellow.
And Kristen's wearing a yellow striped shirt right now, so
Sure am. Yellow, I'm a big fan of yellow. There's again a lot of different shades, a lot of different context. I would say again, brand association, the golden arches. McDonald's has really done a great job of pulling that color, through what the brand is as a full, but also like what it invokes as well. I think yellow is one of the colors that definitely invokes emotion, happiness, sunniness, sunshine, smiles, that iconic yellow smiley face. It's one of the colors that most specifically invokes emotion.
I feel like it is a hard color in like branding though too, like just from a design perspective. Like yellow is hard, especially when it's like against white or something like that. As far as like text and things, I feel like I always want to use like more yellow because it is bright and happy, but I struggle a little bit to use it in like the right way. Just like again, from a pure design perspective, it can be tricky.
Yeah, it's not primary in a lot of color palettes. I would say, while it is a primary color, it's definitely secondary when it comes to having a palette of colors.
And then again, I guess we can't get away without talking about fashion in every sense, but I once bought this like bright yellow sweater, like neon yellow almost. And I wore it one day and like everyone always comments, she's like, oh my God, like you must make everyone happy around you when you wear it. And like, sure enough, I don't wear it often, but every time I do, like someone comments on it. So like it definitely stands out.
It makes a statement.
It does. Okay, greens. I've got fresh, wealthy, growing, organic, balanced. Tell me about the greens.
I would agree with those. I would say a lot of context when it comes to earthiness, when it comes to natural, when it comes to nature in general. I feel like when somebody wants to have a feeling of being organic or being approachable, the greens definitely fall into that family. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Um,
Going green.
Green also is a lucky color, and one I think a lot of people go to when they think of like prosperity and money and not necessarily spending money. There's another color that leads to people spending money, which we'll talk about.
Ooh, stay tuned.
But green is in there.
Does everyone know about my green collection?
Yes, it's my favorite thing.
I don't. A green collection. What?
So this is a very Jessica thing, but when I was little, my favorite color was green. So naturally, I had a green collection where I had a green box and I just put green things in it that I liked. And one of the most treasured item in my green collection was a green toilet brush that my grandma bought me at the dollar store. And I came home with it, and my mom was like, to her mom, she's like, why did you buy her a toilet brush? She's like, because it was green and she wanted it. I don't know why I loved green, but I loved it enough to want a toilet brush when I was like 7 years old. So I'm a big fan of green.
I love it. I love it.
Seriously, like any shade of green, give it to me. I love wearing it, decorating with it, being outside in the green hills of Tennessee. Like I love green so much. Sometimes I think that it's my favorite, but then I think of other instances and I'm like, ugh, they're just all my favorite. I don't know.
I know. I wasn't going to torture anyone on this call with the question, what is your favorite color? Because I just knew that that would have just set us all off.
Not fair.
Fair. I just like that question. Every time I'm asked, it's all of them. They are all my favorite because it depends on my mood and it depends on like what I'm feeling in the moment. Like you can't just pick one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and like what's the context of it?
It is. It's really funny, and I don't know if you ran into this, Jess, with your daughter, but I find that my nieces and nephews always ask like, what's Gemma, my daughter, what's Gemma's favorite color going to be? What do you think is her favorite color? Like they ask all the time. And it's like, okay, like let's
find out.
You know, she looks really good in purple. She looks really good in purple and pink. You know, but let's see what she chooses. Right. And it's funny, like from a young age, like that is a big question.
I mean, colors are a big deal. Like that's what we teach. You know, we start, and I can't tell you the number of like baby color books. I had like baby Pantone, and like all it's all about the color. But yeah, it's funny, and I see it too. Like obviously, I'm sure there's tons of research about this, which is my own experience. Like with Emmy, like how she does associate color, and she's already learned to like associate it with the people who like matter in her life. So she knows like my mom loves purple, so anytime she sees purple, she like, that's grandma's favorite color. Like if she knows she's going to see grandma, I want to wear purple because that's her favorite color. And daddy loves blue, so like I'm gonna get him something blue. Like she associates it already, and it's cute.
Yeah I think color is definitely one of the first things that children learn as far as like what associations and people and emotions, and it's very interesting.
It is. Okay, that just made me think too. I can't remember the exact context. I know there was something going on around the internet a couple of years ago, but like the whole concept of like, do I see a certain color blue the way you see a certain color blue? And wasn't there something about, I don't know, it was like navy, was it a pair of pants? Help me out here. There was something.
The dress.
Yes, there was something. Yeah, but it does make you wonder, like, do we actually perceive colors the same way? I mean, there's obviously some basic level of understanding if we kind of see that it has this language and we all associate it with kind of similar things. But who is to say that the way I see hot pink is the same way you see hot pink, even if we're looking at it the same?
And then you have your friends who are colorblind.
Yes.
And one of my dear friends is, and we lived together. And one of the things that we did on a daily basis, or, whether it was in the morning or the evening before, is I would help him pick out his clothes so that they matched correctly, or that I would tell him what real color it was and let him choose. But it was an interesting exercise that just boggles my mind and makes me so sad for some people who aren't able to see in that light. And I think that's why we see those viral videos of people getting the glasses for the first time, and they're seeing this whole new world, and they are just overcome with emotion. And it's true, you're not seeing the world for what it truly is when you cannot see 100% in color. And wild.
I know. That is so fascinating. Like I can't imagine. Like I think I take for granted the fact that I like see all these colors, and I do think there's like, it's a spectrum too. And I think there's something, it might be through Pantone or something, but there's like some like special color test that's like, like it really takes you through like how well you can like differentiate colors. And I would love to take that someday, just like for the fun of it. I think it's like some really professional.
I had to do it for a job interview once.
It wasn't fun. I'm like, I want to do it just for grins because I think it would be interesting. But it is like, I do think, whether, obviously there's colorblind, like all at one end of the spectrum, but then like, I think there, it is like a range in between. Like there's sometimes even like with my husband where like, he'll be like, oh, like that blue thing. I'm like, no, that's not blue. That's like a purpley blue or whatever it is. And, it's like, it is interesting. We just had this the other day. I asked him, we were changing out the blanket on Emmy's bed, and I was like, I want the purple blanket that's in her playroom. And so he went in there, and then he comes back. He's like, what purple blanket? I don't see a purple blanket. I'm like, it's right on there. It's on the couch. He's like, I don't see it. I go in there, and I like pick it up. I'm like, this one. He's like, that's pink. And I'm like, no, it's purple.
Wow.
And then Emmy he was like, Emmy, what color is this? She was like, it's pink. And I was like, listen, y'all, it's purple. It's like a pinky purple.
Please send us a picture of this blanket after so that we can cast our votes.
I know, I will. Okay.
Include that in the show notes.
All right. We'll put it to a vote. But it is true. It does make me wonder. Like there are certain nuances to it that it does, I guess, like depend on your perspective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Big time.
Okay. Where do we leave off? Okay. Blues. I've got tranquil, loyal, calm, healing, trusting, free, spiritual, and light. A lot of things for blue.
Yeah, there's a lot of different shades, from dark to light. I think it's one of those colors that definitely is in the majority of what people choose for their brand colors. We always have cool tones that are always in the blue family, whether they skew more green, whether they skew more, black blue. But there's a lot of different contexts when it comes to, how people conceptualize that color, whether they, feel emotion from it, whether they feel professionalism from it. It is definitely on the hierarchy scale of a true primary color in a lot of palettes.
I would agree. I mean, yes, it is obviously a primary color, but I do think it is probably the one color that like you do kind of encounter more often than not in a variety of scenarios. Like even like denim, like jeans, like, the most kind of neutral piece of like clothing you can get. And I think that's where I think blue is actually a neutral. And we had kind of perceived that in a lot of ways. And we see it in branding and fashion and all those things. But it is kind of like
absolutely
a staple.
For sure.
All right. Purples. I've got royal, noble, majestic, luxurious, creative, and abundant. I really love purple.
I like it too. I find it a hard one to work with though.
Yeah.
I feel purple over pink, I feel skews young in a lot of cases. It's very difficult to have purple feel professional. Purple is the color that is known to be used often in casinos because that's the color
People
that
spend.
people see and will spend with. So it's an
Interesting.
interesting kind of psychology when it comes to purple and spending money. But that's why it's used in a number of different casinos, whether it's in
Interesting.
the lights that they use, whether it's on
Mhm.
the machines,
Mhm.
or in the colors they choose to decorate with.
It's funny that you don't see, or like I'm thinking, like a lot of brands don't use purple, so it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Hmm.
I like purple
Hmm.
a lot. Like it's like to me, it's one of those colors that I always like forget how much I like it, and then I'll come back to
Hmm.
it. To me, I think it's like second to pink. If pink just isn't working for some reason, it's a purple, and that's
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
my
Makes
hierarchy,
sense.
my personal hierarchy of colors.
I love like a good like dark eggplant, but I also love a lavender. So I
Yeah.
also am here for purple.
Mhm.
My alma mater, go crew,
There
purple and gold. So
you go.
they
Two
Nice.
good ones.
spent my money on education there. So maybe that's what they're going for.
They got it. They figured it out. I don't know if you
Amazing.
guys can see my purple dresser behind me,
Hmm.
but like that took
Yes.
me a
Yep.
very long time to like get the right purple. Like I had to custom mix my own purple here because I had like a very specific look in mind, and I like really struggled. I like kept mixing, and like I can like vividly remember this was years ago when I went to go paint it, and I like just kept going because like it would be like good, and then I would add like a little bit more of something else, and then it would like turn ugly all of a sudden. So like I had to just like keep going, and ended up with like this giant bucket because I just had to like keep adding to it and keep mixing. I ended up like going to the store last minute, so like this needs something else. But it's my very own custom
Awesome.
purple that I'm very much proud of.
It's a very pretty shade.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You did good.
Purple's a very difficult color to achieve when printing on paper too.
Mm,
Oh.
In the CMYK process,
mhm.
it's a very, very difficult color to achieve because a lot of times it could skew very pink. A lot of times it could skew very blue, just like getting that perfect shade that you were trying to.
Mhm.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah, it goes like, at least from my experience, like it goes muddy real fast. Like you could go like from purple to gray
Hmm.
like real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Like a muddy gray, not even
Yeah,
like a
and to
good
get the
gray.
vibrancy in, yeah, to get the vibrancy in purple is very tricky.
Mhm. Another side tangent, just because I'm interested in your take, Kristen. So for my day job, I work in an industry that we do a lot of printing as well. So like it's always fascinating to me. Like obviously print is mostly in CMYK, like that literally there are like inks that go, and yes, some have like more kind of shades in between, but like when you see something on a screen like the vibrant RGB, like you're just never going to reproduce that exactly in print. And so we get a lot of people who are like, well, look
Yeah.
this way on my screen, but like it doesn't look this way in print. um can you take us through a little bit about that? So like when you're designing, because you help brands, right? And now in this day and age, like brands are online just as much as anything else. So do you take that into consideration when you are designing and picking color palettes and things like that? Like how is it going to translate to print materials as well?
Yeah, it depends if it's, yeah, product or service based. That was a really big pain point and something we had to really work through when I was at Vera Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many different substrates that we were working with, and each substrate kind of had its own printing techniques that then were translated. We printed on everything. When everything had to tie back to the fabric. The
Right.
fabric was golden.
Mm-hmm.
That was queen. That was queen. So we had the fabric, and then I would be printing on binder clips, and it was a heat transfer process. We would be printing on ceramic, and that was another type of process. Melamine. Um, he transfers on pens and pencils, and then the printed notebooks on top of that. So it was a really interesting journey to kind of dial in how do you get all of those colors to specifically match so that the
Mm-hmm.
brand does look cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a tricky process, and I would say that now more than ever there's definitely people out there who are trying to streamline it. I think when it comes to printing and, even just how much things cost. I think a lot of people don't understand too when it comes to achieving certain things, there has to be some flexibility involved. And there's a number of, people who will choose to just say, "Yeah, this is what I really want, but I know for the this is what I really want, and it's that RGB bright version. But for the long run of what I need," and this is always a question I ask my clients is, where is your branding going to be used? And if they give me a plethora of print-based material, we definitely have to keep that in mind, and it has to, strictly be CMYK based, because that's what their eye is going to see 90% of the time. And maybe, when it comes to seeing the website, it's, there's a bit of delight there because it is going to be a little bit more vibrant, but we do have to keep it on brand as well and have it be consistent. Consistency is key. So if they come to the table and they're telling me that there's a lot of print-based material, it's a product-based business, we have to really keep that in mind as well.
It's part of why I just go with all the colors so that I never have to choose specifically. Okay.
I think your color palette is one of the biggest ones I've worked with.
I just keep that. They're really, I still anchor to the most recent one that we've done, but I've also I've added to it, and I just keep going. Nothing is off the table.
Fair.
Okay, so we've gone through most of the brighter colors, and now if we can just go into the more of the neutral side. So let's start with the browns. So I've got earthly, grounded, conservative. I think brown for me is one that when done right and well can be really good, but it again is not one that I'm going to jump to, especially being such a color lover. Brown is not at the top of my list.
But tan falls into that family as well. So
yes.
That tan neutral, or the browns that make up, say, a leopard print, come into play there, I think, as well. I mean, we're talking about pattern, not necessarily color in those cases.
I'll take it.
But the tan neutral is very important in a color palette. I think in a lot of cases, when combined with other colors, it stands out even more in a nice predominant way. But brown itself, tricky color.
I will say I just got a pair of bell-bottom vibes brown pants.
Nice.
And I'm really excited about them for fall. But yeah, it definitely probably isn't a super go-to for me, but it does feel like I feel like it can be timeless, when paired with black, a little black and brown action. Yep. I'm here for it.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm even thinking about again, my wardrobe, and if I have the choice, I think I usually lean more towards a black than a brown. But yeah, there are certain things where it just feels right. Sparingly. It's a sparingly used color, but when used right, there we go.
Just a little sprinkling over here and there.
All right, whites. I've got innocent, pure, clean. Surprisingly, maybe not. White to me, because I am so colorful, that's why my walls are white, and so it really makes the color stand out. But you have to have the right white. There's even just within whites, and again, going to my day job, the different white color matting, we literally just had to do a whole project. People are what's the difference? And we literally did have all the swatches out, and it's yep, every single one of these is different.
Yeah, they look, one will look more blue, one will look more cream. Yeah, white is tricky. White is very hard. White is very hard. I would say when it comes to paper and it being a base, I'm sure you run into that too, having a white, not every white is created equal, and having it as a base, it affects other colors as well. When you see just even a very light cream next to a white, it looks very different than it would when it comes to color on color.
Yeah. And I think I'm definitely someone who kind of leans a little more like I don't even really want like a pure white. I want like a little bit of a toned down white. And like that's when it's a little
Hmm.
more effective in my opinion. But yeah, but I think there's something to be said like just like for the white space, right? Allowing other colors to breathe and like just kind of having that, but again, it has to be the right kind of white.
Yeah.
And side note, I always want to wear white, but I just like I can't like it never works well. And then I like inevitably it gets dirty right away. But like I want to be able to be someone who can wear white and it just doesn't really happen.
It's hard. It's a tricky one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then we go the other side. We've got our blacks. We got sophisticated, dramatic, classic, formal, powerful, elegant. I think for me, black, and I didn't, Alexis, I think we talked about this with Yelena about like if we had to wear one color or
One
something
color
like that.
for the rest of our
And
lives.
mine was black. But I do think I
Really?
speaking of kind of like playing off different colors, like to me, more than white, just again because like it's so dirty, like I would rather wear black and then have like colorful accessories and stuff like that to like dress it up. But I do think in a similar way that white does, like black does allow you to see all those colors. And then also like if I really want to get deep with it, obviously the whole like color is a reflection of light and black is the absence of light. You can kind of like, you know, get philosophical there. But yeah, black to me is another way to just like really embrace all of the other colors that it kind of lets shine even brighter.
Interesting.
Today you learned.
I know. I would never think that of you. And I don't think that way about black.
Really? Okay. How do
No.
you think about black?
I would think of it black is tricky to me. I feel like it is for a lot of people it's a default color.
Mm-hmm.
It's a color to blend in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a color to hide and to just really in some cases be unnoticed.
Mm.
And I think living in New York City for 20 years, I think for a number of people it's a default color and everybody expects like, okay, you're from New York, like you live in New York, you must have an all black wardrobe. And it's like, what? Why? You know? Like to me it's the most odd.
Well, I think this goes back to like
It's the most odd
cultural
choice.
perceptions, right? Because I mean, if that was kind of the environment and that's sort of like through your lens, that's how you perceived it. It's interesting because we do associate colors differently depending on our own personal experience with them.
Definitely.
Okay, now I'm curious. What color are your cars?
White. But that what like it was just we were buying that car and it was white. I didn't like have a choice of what color it was. So
right,
good question.
Yeah.
What color is your car?
My car is black. That's why I was thinking about this in this moment. Because my car is black and her name is Audrey because Audrey Hepburn and her little black dress in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Got it.
So, I don't know. I also love black a lot.
Fair. Interesting. And I have the in the middle. I have the silvery gray.
We've represented all of the neutrals between us.
Amazing.
Honestly.
Okay.
That's funny.
Okay, black.
It's a good question though. And do like I always wonder about the person who picks the orange car or there's a car that I see around here that's like it's an electric green and I'm like, okay, you know, and then you think of like the iconic taxi cab that's yellow and
I do think
car colors are very interesting.
I've always thought it would be way more fun and I get like cost, reality, logistics, but like imagine like you could pick any color car, like almost like you would pick nail polish. You can like when you go in, like here's all the different colors your car can be. I think we would learn a lot more and like life would be a little more exciting to see a whole rainbow when you're out there driving.
Yes.
True. It's true.
I probably would pick a pink in that case if I really had the choice of any color. It probably would be a shade of pink.
We would see a lot more brighter colors out there for sure.
That would be fun though. It's the next market for expressing our creativity and color. Cars. Okay. Last two. We've got kind of the gray silver family. So we've got reliable, secure, solid, modern, futuristic, sleek, graceful. I think to me, I prefer a gray over a brown for like a neutral.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Silver.
I think of a tone of like a gray versus like a smoky gray as opposed to like a camel brown. I would go more camel brown. Gray works, but it looks sleek. It does look sleek, especially if you think about like our laptops and electronics and phones. I mean,
cars.
Exactly. You know, the main finish on cars is more of a gray silver as opposed to a gold.
I don't see a lot of gold cars.
No.
I will say, so golds is the next one. So that I have wise, wealthy, valued. I do think like gold versus silver. I'm someone who normally is more attracted to gold, like just barring any other reactions. Like gold is kind of my go-to. But you know my love of disco balls, and so silver has like really like been coming up in the ranks for me. And the more I'm like, you know, I incorporate it with the disco balls, I'm like, okay, well, silver, it's growing on me, I have to say. And like even jewelry, I think more of my jewelry is silver than gold, but yet when given the choice of like art and like incorporating it in things, like gold is usually my go-to. Like gold, like in a confetti mix as the accent is like probably 75+% of what I go to. But I think I do have like a mix of both depending on the vibe and what I'm doing.
That's good though. That's good. I would say culturally, gold in a lot of different cultures is, you know, really put on a pedestal. I would say in the Indian culture. Gold, pure gold, 24 karat gold is very big. It's very important to them. It shows a number of different contexts in which it's important as well.
Alexis, gold or silver? Go.
See, I'm a both and. I'm a yes and girl. And for very similar reasons. I love a disco ball. Honestly, most of my jewelry used to be silver. My mom is a silver gal, and so because of that, I was a silver jewelry girl. But I've gotten a lot more into the gold. But lately I've been mixing them, and it's been great.
There you go. Why choose one?
And I'm like looking at two pieces of furniture that are gold. So I'm like, probably gold wins, but I do love silver as well.
Fair. I do like the mix of both. I think for a long time I had this like perception that like you shouldn't mix silver and gold, but now I do.
All right, now it is time for our favorite part of having a visitor on the podcast. It's our super silly segment. So just for fun, we are going to ask you some random rapid fire questions. The idea is not to think about it too much. Just give us your unfiltered thoughts. All right.
I love it.
First up, would life be better if we could smell colors?
Oh, completely. Completely. The markers we had as a kid.
Mr. Sketch.
The Mr. Sketch markers.
Yes.
I mean, pure joy. Pure joy to smell the black licorice over the cherry red.
So would you associate like that's what colors smell like?
100%. How could you not? Child of the 80s over here.
I love it.
Papermate, their flare pens, they have some scented ones now.
Good to know.
And they're really fun when you're taking notes in a meeting. Add a little spice.
Okay. If shoes could talk, what secrets would they tell?
That's a good question. That one makes you think. How can you rapid fire that? What secrets would they
Slow
tell?
fire.
Yeah, I think not too many because a lot of people leave them out. They don't the shoes stay in the closet or they stay at the front door, I think in a lot of cases. But if you're out somewhere, maybe some good secrets.
Mhm.
I think they know a lot. They hear a lot.
I'm gonna look differently at my shoes this week.
She's gonna be whispering around don't tell my shoes.
don't tell them. Are croutons just mini toasts, or do they deserve their own food category?
Ooh, food category.
Crouton is a category. It's at the top. It's
Mhm.
at the
More than
top
a
of the
toast.
pyramid. Croutons.
More than a toast.
Okay. Would you rather have hair made of spaghetti or fingernails made of mini marshmallows?
Marshmallow fingernails.
It'd be fun to paint. It'd really show that color.
Yep. Oh my gosh. The hair of spaghetti, no thank you.
It'd be a little too slimy for me.
Seems like
Agreed.
it would break easily too. I don't know.
But if you got hungry, well, I guess if you got hungry, I mean, if you bite your fingernails, I think marshmallows are a good choice.
That's where my mind was headed, even though I'm not a nail biter. But that's where my
I mean, you could eat
hair washing day is not my favorite, and hair of spaghetti sounds miserable.
Yeah.
So greasy with all that oil and sauce.
Ugh.
Marshmallows it is.
Fair. Deal.
If laughter were a color, what shade would it be and would it sparkle?
100% sparkle. And I say gold, glittery laughter.
Ooh, I like it.
I can see it. I always think of it too, like, you know those like speakers that have the RGB lights, but it like goes to the music and it changes. I kind of picture it like that. So like depending on who's laughing and how hard, it's all different colors.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If coffee had a personality, would it be more of an early bird or a night owl?
Oh, early bird. Yeah.
Early to rise.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my initial reaction as well.
Yeah. It's something you go to more in the morning than the night.
Mm-hmm.
Would coffee keep itself up so it would just inevitably be a night owl because it's coffee and it keeps itself jazzed?
Man, Jessica, making us think some more.
Still prepared early in the morning.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I'm done. Move on.
If raindrops could make musical sounds when they hit the ground, which genre would you choose for each storm?
Gosh. For each storm, how many different storms are there? Many eras?
Maybe just storms in general.
Heavy metal. For a thunderstorm.
I like it.
Classical for a snowstorm.
Oh, see?
Oh.
I like that.
Jazz for a windstorm.
What about
good question?
What about like a hurricane?
Good answers.
Yeah, hurricane.
Confetti storm.
There you go. I
Can
love
confetti
it.
be a new genre of music?
Yes.
If you could only communicate through dancing for a day, what dance move would mean hello?
Oh my gosh. Dance move. How would I greet somebody if I had to dance? Oh my gosh, this is so These are not rapid fire. These are thought provoking.
We like to ask the hard hitting questions.
I'm not up to date with my dance moves.
Okay, let's see. There's the robot.
I mean,
Cabbage Patch.
sure. You go to the classics,
Vogue.
but I would say Fortnite has all these new dance moves in it, and I'm like, what is that? I see. I spoke at a middle school career day 2 years ago, and there was one kid. I was like, "Why are you? What are you doing?" He's like, "You don't know what this is," and I was like, "No."
I wouldn't
He was so
either.
confident. I was like, "I'm glad you can do that," but what?
I'm glad you.
It
I love
wasn't
that for
even
you.
like the floss. Yeah. It wasn't even like flossing. It was something else I didn't know.
Okay. Jessica, did you say the Cabbage Patch?
We did.
I don't know that move.
Look it up. Google it.
Yeah.
I was hoping that you would demonstrate for me.
No demonstration.
No. I'm sick, Alexis. I'm too weak to do it. Okay, don't make me do it.
You'll just have to look it up.
Yeah, just Google it.
Okay, I will.
And then
Yeah,
I would like a video of you performing it to make me feel better.
Again, included in the show notes.
Yes. Don't disappoint the people, Alexis.
I'll see what I can do.
I also think voguing
I would say a
be
moonwalk
funny.
is definitely a good high.
Yes.
Voguing would be a good high.
Moonwalking
Voguing would be a good hello.
Yeah, and then moonwalking to say goodbye, definitely.
We just need to walk out of here.
Okay, this week that's what we have to do.
And to see how many people get behind it.
I love it.
Okay,
You have to do that out of your next work meeting.
Yep. Walk right out of frame.
Okay, last silly question. If each day of the week had a flavor, what would Monday taste like?
Oh. Iced coffee.
I feel like that's also what Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday tastes like.
Maybe not Friday.
Okay.
Friday would be a dirty martini.
Okay. Switch it up.
Yeah. That's a good question. What do you guys think? What would Monday be for you?
My immediate reaction was black licorice, but that might just be because we just talked about black licorice scented markers.
She has the Sunday scaries.
The Monday scaries. Well, yes. No, I have tomorrow off. So today is Sunday. I do not have the Sunday scaries because I have tomorrow off. But if I didn't, then I would.
Lucky.
Although, as we learned from our pal Doogie, if you're not enjoying Sunday, you're not doing life right. So.
You're right.
Trying to keep that mindset. Man. Okay, well, thank you for indulging us in all of those questions. And thank you for chatting all about color with us. So if we were to kind of leave Confetti Land with some parting thoughts, what advice would you have for someone looking to use color to create an immediate connection in either their home or their business?
First and foremost, and this is taken from the Dear Tiffany Pratt, is what do you find yourself synonymous with? And that's, I think, the first question that you have to ask yourself is, when somebody thinks of you, what do they think of? When somebody's buying you a gift, what do they say? I needed to buy this for you because it's so Jessica, it's so Alexis. Mm-hmm. What is that? And there's usually a color associated with that. And I would first and foremost look at that. And I tell my clients to look at that. What do you find yourself most synonymous with, and go from there?
I love that. And I think it's such a different way to think about it too, because usually, like, again, we're like asked, like, what's your favorite color? And it's like a very kind of inward thing, but I don't think I've ever really reflected on what color do others perceive me as? That's an interesting question.
It's the best reflection of you too. And I would say, even that goes for buying clothes. It goes for how you want yourself to be perceived.
I like that.
Making those choices make a difference.
Yeah.
I love it.
Gives us something to think on.
Mm-hmm.
We know that our confetti people are going to want to be able to find you. So where and how can they connect with you?
Absolutely. First and foremost, Instagram is the best business card ever. I would say you are more inclined to keep in contact with friends and business acquaintances and new friends if you follow them on Instagram. So my Instagram is my first name and last name, Kristen, with an E dot Poissant, Poissant. So that would be first and foremost, and then my website, KristenPoissant.com.
Perfect. Okay. Are we ready to pop some confetti?
Mm-hmm. Do you take the top off?
Okay, so top comes off. I'll give us a countdown, and we'll do a 1, 2, 3, and then it's like a volleyball. It's like a volleyball situation where we got to give it some force. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
I hit it too hard and it popped right out.
That's how you know you're doing it right.
Yes.
I should have held on to it.
I really got it on myself today.
Did good.
Oh, you did good. You did good.
We got a good sleeve action.
On her new Confetti Land sweatshirt.
So cute, by the way.
Rainbow embroidery, all the colors.
Swag.
I love it.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us. It has been such a long time coming to have you here in Confetti Land.
It has.
And we hope you'll visit again.
Happy to be here. I'll come back.
Yay!
For more fun, join us on the socials at the Confetti Bar. To receive free inspiration delivered to your inbox, you can also join the Confetti Club at theconfettibar.com/join. Thanks for visiting!